4 minutes and 37 seconds. That was the exact duration it took my father to threaten disinheriting me. I recall glancing at my phone timer once the call ended, laughing until tears streamed down my cheeks. There I was, sitting in my sunlit apartment in California, earning more money than he had ever witnessed, 3,000 miles away from the family that had spent 27 years looking through me rather than truly seeing me. The funniest part was not just the empty ultimatum. It was that they only realized I was gone 6 months after I vanished from their lives. Boxes packed the walls of my old apartment on that final day before leaving for California. They were not cardboard monuments to childhood memories or heritage, simply practical containers holding the life I had created entirely on my own. My friend Emily struggled with a box full of books, her face flushed from the effort. Jessica said, "Michael, this is incredibly heavy," as she dropped it near the door with a solid thud. "Are you certain you need all these?" "I am going to sell most of them anyway," I replied, the sharp sound of packing tape tearing breaking the silence. "Thanks for helping me with everything." She sank onto my worn-out couch, the only piece of furniture left. "I still can't grasp that you are actually doing this. Are you absolutely certain you don't want to inform your parents?" That question kept coming up. Everyone asked it as if telling those who treated you like invisible decor was some sort of duty. I laughed. Not the kind of warmth that comes from happiness, but the empty kind that resonates from vacant spaces where love ought to exist. "Emily, they do not even know where I am living now. Why would I tell them that I am moving across the entire country?" Michael came into the room from the kitchen, drying his hands on a dishcloth. His dark eyes showed worry beneath his easygoing voice. "Everything is spotless in there. So, remind me once more why your family is unaware of any of this." I sat down on the wooden floor, the chill seeping through my jeans. The feeling kept me grounded as memories started threatening to overwhelm me. Because they have never been interested in my life. And I am not exaggerating. I am stating facts. My friends exchanged one of those glances, the kind people share when witnessing something awkward but unsure how to respond. Over the years, they had caught bits and pieces of my family history, but I had never revealed it completely. The emptiness of the apartment and the finality of leaving made me want to confess the whole truth aloud. Look, when I was a child, everything was centered on Alex. From the beginning, he was the favored one. I picked at a small piece of tape stuck to my fingers, carefully pulling it away. He is 2 years older, and in my parents' eyes, infinitely more important. "That is truly unfair," Michael said, leaning back against the wall. "When I was 8, I won first place at the school science competition. My volcano was not the usual baking soda experiment. I had studied real volcanic activity and built a model based on actual patterns. My project was a functional model illustrating genuine geological concepts. The judges were truly impressed. My teacher even called my parents just to share how outstanding it was. I still remember it vividly, standing by the dinner table that evening, certificate in hand, hoping someone would acknowledge it. Guess what my parents said? "That's nice, sweetheart." Then they spent the remainder of dinner discussing Alex's soccer practice. It was not even an important game, simply a regular session where he apparently made a good pass. Somehow, the apartment felt colder that night. Things only worsened as we grew older. At the age of 12, I was on the honor roll every semester. Perfect grades in every subject. My parents barely glanced at my report cards. Yet when Alex made the varsity football team, they threw him a celebration and invited the entire neighborhood. My dad even bought a new grill, especially for the event. Speaking about this is easier now, like opening an old scar. The biggest blow came during our teenage years. Alex wanted to enroll in an expensive private college, and my parents were completely excited to fund it. Full tuition, luxurious apartment, spending money, whatever he might need. When I turned 18, they sat me down for a financial reality discussion. They told me they had already used the college fund on Alex, so I would have to manage on my own. Wait, what? Emily's eyes widened. They said that exactly, word for word. Fortunately, I earned a full scholarship to study computer science. It seems I have a knack for it. I stood. The energy flowing through me made it impossible to stay still. I lived in the dormitories, juggled 2 part-time positions to cover everything else, and basically stopped going home. The quiet that filled the space was not unsettling. These were people who genuinely heard me when I spoke. They stopped inviting me to holiday gatherings and reduced their communication to generic birthday messages once a year. After graduation, nothing shifted. I secured a position at a software firm, began working remotely, and saved every penny possible. Meanwhile, my mother constantly posted about Alex on social media. I grabbed my phone and scrolled through her profile. Here were images from his promotion party 3 months ago, snapshots from his engagement celebration last month. "They did not invite you to his engagement party?" Michael asked, his tone thick with disbelief. "No, but I have stopped being surprised. I realized long ago that I do not truly belong to their family. Alex is their son. I am just someone who happens to share their DNA." Emily rose and hugged me, the scent of her vanilla fragrance feeling like actual home. "I am sorry, Jessica. That really hurts. It's fine. I have moved past it now, and I meant that. That is why I am thrilled about this move. I received a fantastic job proposal from a tech company in Silicon Valley. The salary is almost twice what I earn now, and the work is at the forefront of innovation. It is a fresh beginning." "That is incredible," Michael said. "You deserve it." "Thanks. The best part is, I did not have to ask for it. I managed everything on my own without asking anyone for assistance. I secured the job, discussed the salary, found an apartment in California, and organized the whole relocation entirely by myself." Emily smiled broadly. "Look at you, so independent and thriving." I confessed feeling oddly proud of myself, the words unfamiliar yet pleasant in my mouth. I had been saving for many years, and with this new income, I expected to afford purchasing my own home within 1 or 2 years, somewhere peaceful with reliable internet access. That was precisely what I needed. We completed packing in a peaceful silence before ordering pizza and sitting on the floor, eating directly from the box. The empty apartment felt like shedding an old layer, strange yet freeing. "What are your plans for tomorrow?" Emily inquired while wiping sauce from her chin. The flight departed at 2 o'clock. The final boxes were going with me as luggage, and the rest was already sent ahead. The apartment was modest, nothing elaborate, but offered a mountain view. I was scheduled to start work on Monday. "Have you informed your grandmother about the move?" Michael questioned. My expression softened immediately. Yes, I had called her last week. She was the only relative who had ever genuinely cared about my journey. My grandmother was my father's mother, and somehow the kindness gene had skipped a generation. She listened attentively whenever I spoke. She remembered the little things about my life. When my parents declined to support my college education, she was the one who helped me locate scholarship opportunities. She reached out to congratulate me on every success, regardless of how minor it was. "That's so kind," Emily commented. "I am happy you have her in your life." "Me too. She is now 75 years old, yet sharper than many people half her age. She understands perfectly what is going on with my parents, but she chooses to be tactful and does not express it openly." We remained there until midnight discussing California, my new position, and the future I was shaping. These were my true family, the individuals who acknowledged my presence when I entered a room, who rejoiced in my achievements, who actually knew where I lived. After they departed, I sat cross-legged in the middle of my vacant apartment. The following day, I would board a plane to travel across the country, no longer feeling like an outsider at events where I was not welcomed, no longer witnessing my parents revolve around Alex as though he were their son. Just me, my profession, and the future I was carving out for myself. Half a year later, I realized that sometimes the finest form of revenge is living a fulfilling life. One random Tuesday morning, I was in my apartment in California. The view of the mountains never ceased to amaze me. Sharp peaks set against a vivid blue sky created a scene people pay thousands to experience on holidays. I could admire them from my work desk, from the kitchen while brewing coffee, from my balcony where I often relaxed in the evenings, watching sunsets paint the peaks in shades of gold and purple. The position exceeded all promises. My supervisor truly respected my opinions. My colleagues were intelligent and sincerely friendly. The income allowed me to save money steadily, at a pace that still occasionally forced me to double-check my bank balance, convinced there had to be an error. During lunch breaks, I found myself scrolling through property listings, actual homes with gardens and renovated kitchens. The kind of place where you could picture spending your later years. For the very first time, I experienced a sense of belonging somewhere. Then my phone rang. An unknown number appeared. I almost ignored it, but some odd feeling compelled me to answer. Jessica. My father's voice was sharp and irritated. Not surprised, just bothered, as if I had kept him waiting. I couldn't recall the last time he had reached out. You need to come home for dinner next Saturday. No greeting, no asking how I was. Just a command delivered with total certainty that I would obey. Typical dad. What dinner? I asked, though I already knew I would not be interested in the reply. Michael's fiancé's parents want to meet you. They are traditional, and family means a lot to them. They discovered Michael has a sister, and they wish to get acquainted with you. This is crucial for Michael's future. I was sure it was. Yet the request, or rather the order, seemed so ridiculous to me that I couldn't hold back my answer. I am not coming. A silence. What do you mean you are not coming? Anger rose in his voice, that familiar tone that used to make me shrink as a child. But I was no longer a child. I mean exactly what I said. I am not coming to your dinner gathering. Why not? And then something inside me broke free. Not anger, but a sort of wild and free amusement took over me. I began laughing, not politely or nervously, but deeply, with uncontrollable laughter that made me bend over. What are you laughing at? Dad insisted. This whole situation is ridiculous, and I can give you 3 reasons why I am not coming. First, we are not a perfect family. You have a cherished son, that's Alex, and then there is me, more like an afterthought. Second, I will not pretend to join some cheerful family reunion with strangers just because it suits you. And third, I paused, enjoying the moment. I cannot come to dinner because I moved to California 6 months ago. There was complete silence on the other end. I could nearly hear his mind trying to absorb this revelation. You moved to California without informing us? Why would I tell you? You never once asked where I was living before. Then he burst out. How dare you relocate across the country without telling your family? What is your address? We need to know where you are. I was still chuckling. Dad, do you recall my old address? The one where I lived for 3 years? He did not respond right away. Jessica, that is not the issue. Actually, it is precisely the issue. You don't remember because you never cared enough to find out. You have never been curious about my life, so why would I share where I live or what I am doing? Jessica, you cannot just... I hung up. Almost instantly, my phone rang again. Dad's number. I rejected it. Then Mom called, and after that, Alex. I ignored all their calls and let them go to voicemail. Then the messages started flooding in. Mom, Jessica, family matters. We should not argue like this. Alex, Please, Jessica, just come to one dinner. You can return to California right after. Dad, this is absurd. Call me back. More calls, more texts. It felt as though they suddenly remembered I existed and were upset that I did not respond immediately. I put my phone on silent and prepared myself a proper meal. Salmon with roasted vegetables, the kind of food I never had time to make when I was juggling several jobs to support myself through college. The sense of entitlement in their messages was overwhelming. Alex needed his fiancée's parents to believe he came from an ideal family. So now I was expected to fit into the role assigned to me. Where was this concern about family when I was eating instant noodles in my dorm because I could afford nothing else? The calls and messages went on for 3 whole days. Some were attempts to make me feel guilty, others offered bribes, and a few were simply angry demands. I read every single one but did not reply to any. On the 3rd day, my grandmother called. "Hello, sweetheart. How are you finding California?" Her voice immediately calmed something inside me. "Really?" I answered. "Well, actually, I love it here. That's wonderful to hear. Listen, your parents asked me to call you." I sighed. "Let me guess. They want you to agree to come to Alex's dinner thing." "That is right, but before I say anything further, I want you to know that I will not pressure you. I fully understand your family's circumstances and why you prefer not to attend." "Thank you, Grandma. That means a great deal to me. Your parents are upset because you moved without informing them. Grandma, they did not even know where I lived before. How can that be my fault?" "It is not your fault, dear. I have observed this family dynamic for years, and I am aware of how they have treated you. I have attempted to discuss this with your father, but he refuses to listen." After our call ended, I felt a sense of relief. At least someone in my family comprehended my situation. Saturday passed quietly as I hiked in the mountains close to my apartment, inhaling the fresh air and enjoying the feeling of freedom. On Sunday morning, Dad reached out again. "Jessica, we had to inform Alex's future in-laws that you were unwell and could not join the dinner." "All right." I kept my tone calm and said nothing further. "The wedding is only a month away. You must be there. I am not attending the wedding either. Jessica, this is Alex's wedding. You have to be there." "No, I will not." His voice lowered to that dangerous tone I remembered from childhood, the one signaling consequences were imminent. "If you do not come to this wedding and show Alex's in-laws that we are a normal, loving family, I will disinherit you. I will completely cut you off." I almost dropped the phone because I was laughing so much. "You will disinherit me, Dad? I earn more money than you, Mom, and Alex altogether. I do not need your money." Silence lingered between us, heavy with the weight of understanding. "Is that accurate? About your income? If you had ever bothered to inquire about my life, you would know that I am employed by a leading technology company and earn an excellent living." His voice shifted immediately, softening with fresh curiosity. "Jessica, we have always been proud of you. We simply want you to return home so that we can all be united as a family." I ended the call without replying. An hour later, Alex began messaging me, expressing how proud he was and how he had always thought of me and missed me. It felt pathetic. Now that they knew I was successful, they suddenly wanted me back in their lives. The only thing that had changed was the importance they now attributed to what I could contribute to the family image. I blocked their numbers and erased their contacts from my phone. I was finished with all of them. A month went by, the most tranquil month I had experienced in years. No calls from my parents, no emotional manipulation, no demands. Just me, my work, and my life in California. I had narrowed down my house search to several promising options. Some beautiful homes were located about 1 hour outside the city in quiet neighborhoods with good schools, even though I did not have children. I appreciated the sense of stability, the feeling of permanence. My phone rang on a Sunday afternoon. Grandma's name appeared on the screen. "Hello, sweetheart. How are you doing?" "Really well. I am browsing houses online. I think I found a few that I want to visit in person." "That is wonderful, Jessica. I wanted to share some details about the wedding and also have some photos to send your way. How did everything turn out?" "It was quite tense. Your parents were clearly upset that you did not attend. They kept coming up with different reasons for your absence, and it was obvious they felt uneasy about the situation." "What sort of reasons did they give?" "At first they claimed you were still unwell. Then, they said you had to work. After that, they insisted you were away on a business trip." The bride's parents did not seem convinced by any of these explanations. I leaned back on my sofa. That must have been really uncomfortable. It definitely was. And Alex appeared disappointed the entire time. He kept glancing at his phone, probably hoping you would change your mind and arrive after all. "Well, that is not my problem." "No, it really is not. But Jessica, there is something else you should be aware of. A few days before the wedding, the bride's parents had a very unpleasant discussion with your parents." I sat up straighter. "What kind of discussion was that?" "Apparently they had looked into your family background. They discovered that your parents had essentially neglected you for years, and that Alex was clearly the favored child. They were quite unhappy about this." "Seriously?" "Yes, seriously. From what I understood, they told your parents how disappointed they were in the way they treated you, and even questioned whether Alex came from the type of family that they wanted their daughter to join." I felt a strong sense of satisfaction. Wow, that actually feels pretty gratifying. Your parents and the bride's parents ended up in a serious argument. The entire wedding carried an uneasy vibe. It was clear to everyone that something was off. Did the bride's parents speak to Alex? I believe they confronted him about it. Yes. Your cousin told me they questioned him about why he never spoke of having a sister, and why you were absent from his life. What was his response? I am not certain, but it seems things did not go smoothly. The bride appeared troubled throughout the ceremony. When my grandmother sent me pictures later that day, I examined them carefully on my laptop. My parents wore forced smiles that did not reach their eyes. Alex kept looking around, seemingly searching for someone, probably me. The bride's parents looked stern and deeply unhappy. I could not have imagined a more dramatic scenario if I had planned it myself. The following morning, my grandmother called again. She said, "Jessica, I wanted to give you an update on the family matters." "What is happening now?" "It appears that the bride's parents continue asking why you did not attend the wedding, and they remain dissatisfied with the explanations they are receiving." "That is good. Your parents are beginning to worry. They have realized that how they treated you might actually impact Alex's marriage and his relationship with his new family. That is their issue, not mine." "I understand, dear, but I thought you should know that they are starting to grasp that their behavior has consequences." She was right. Meanwhile, I had everything I needed. My career was flourishing. My apartment truly felt like a home. My savings grew steadily each month. I was searching for homes, making new coworkers friends, and hiking during weekends. My life felt complete without them in the picture. "How are you handling all this?" I asked her. "I'm doing well, dear. I have observed this family situation for years, and always believed it would catch up with them eventually. I just wish it had happened sooner." "You were always kind to me, Grandma. You are the only one who ever cared about what I was going through." "You have always been a good person, Jessica. Your parents just failed to recognize that." After we ended the call, I felt justified, but mostly relieved that I was no longer tangled in their conflicts. I spent the rest of the day browsing real estate listings and discovered a house that seemed ideal. It had 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a nice yard, and great internet. It was around 1 hour from my office, but working from home most days made the distance irrelevant. I contacted the agent and arranged a visit for the upcoming weekend. The cost fit perfectly within my budget. I could afford to place 20% down while still saving enough for furniture and emergencies. Later that night, my phone buzzed with a message from an unidentified number. It was Alex saying, "Jessica, I know you blocked our contacts, but I have a new phone. We need to talk." I looked at the text for a moment before deleting it without replying. 5 minutes later, my in-laws started asking about me. "This is hurting my marriage. Delete this. Please just return my call. I know it all fell apart." Delete. "Jessica, I am truly sorry. We all are. Can we please have a conversation?" I switched off my phone and finished preparing dinner. I was not going to be fooled by this. They only felt regret because their actions were finally creating trouble for their beloved Alex. I ate my meal on the balcony, gazing out at the mountains. Tomorrow, I plan to email the realtor about that house. It had been a year since I moved to California, and now I was standing in the kitchen of my very own home. My home. I still cannot believe I actually made it happen. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a yard filled with fruit trees, and the fastest internet connection money can buy. I was making coffee when my phone started ringing. It was my grandmother. "Hi, Grandma. How are you?" I asked. "I'm well, sweetie. How do you like the new house?" she said. "It is perfect. I adore living here. My home office is arranged just the way I want it, and I can work remotely whenever necessary. The neighborhood is peaceful, and my neighbors are incredibly friendly. I am so happy for you, Jessica. You truly deserve this." "Thank you. I still cannot believe I actually own a house. At 28, I am doing better than I ever imagined. You should be proud of yourself. You have achieved so much on your own." "I am proud, and I plan to stay here for a long time, maybe forever." "That sounds fantastic. I have some news about your family if you want to hear it." I took a seat at the kitchen table. "Sure, I guess." "Well, Alex's marriage is not going well. The bride's parents have never truly moved past the issue of you missing the wedding. They continue to bring it up, which only stirs trouble. That situation is unfortunate for Alex. Meanwhile, your own parents are still searching for ways to reach you. They have been questioning everyone in the family, trying to find your current address or phone number. I hope no one is sharing that information with them." Of course, they are not. I made it clear to everyone that you have a right to privacy, and that if you wish to contact your parents, you would do so yourself. Thank you for trusting me with that. Your father calls me every several weeks asking me to persuade you to visit home. I keep explaining that it is not my role to do so. He insists they miss you deeply and want to make amends, but then he often adds something about how accomplished you are and how proud they feel now. It shows they still do not understand. No, they really do not. They mistakenly believe this conflict is about finances or achievements. They cannot grasp that the real issue is how they treated you throughout your life. After our calls end, I walk around my house, passing through the living room with its cozy sofa and big screen TV, then my office equipped for all my work tasks, and finally the guest room prepared for when Emily and Michael come to stay next month. I recall what my grandmother once said. 1 year ago, I might have had some emotion about Alex's marital troubles or my parents' regrets. But today, I feel nothing at all. No anger, no sorrow, no guilt, simply emptiness. Moving here and cutting ties was the right decision for me. My life has become infinitely better without their constant drama, their endless demands, and their sudden interest in my achievements. One evening, I am relaxing on my back porch, watching the sunset drape the sky in hues of pink and gold, when my phone vibrates with a message from an unfamiliar number. "Jessica, this is Mom. I have a new phone number. Please call me. We need to discuss things." I stare at the message for a moment before deleting it. 2 hours pass. "Jessica, I know you are receiving these messages. Your father and I realize we made mistakes. We want to make amends. Delete. We see that you are successful now and we are proud of you. We should have been better parents. Delete. Please, just give us one chance to explain. Delete. Alex's marriage is in trouble because of this situation. You are our daughter, and we love you. I laugh out loud at that message and delete it too. Messages continue arriving over the coming days. Mom, Dad, Alex, even distant relatives I barely recognize. They try various tactics: guilt, pride, family ties, even threats. But I do not reply to any of them. I block the new numbers as they come. I change my phone number and share it only with those I truly want in my life. I make sure my address is nowhere to be found online. A month later, I am having dinner with colleagues when one asks about my family. "Do you have siblings?" she inquires. "No," I reply immediately. "Just me." "What about your parents?" "They are not really part of my life anymore." "Oh, I am sorry. That must be challenging." I take a sip of my wine and smile. Actually, it is not difficult at all. It has turned out to be the best choice I have ever made. And I truly mean that. I do not miss them. I do not wonder what they are doing. I do not feel guilty for not keeping in touch. I am simply living my own life. Half a year later, I receive a promotion at work. My income rises by almost 30%, and I am now managing a group of developers. My manager tells me that I am one of the most skilled programmers she has encountered. To celebrate, I buy myself a new car and take a trip to Japan. I send pictures from Tokyo to my grandmother, who is delighted for me. "You are living your best life, dear," she tells me when I call from my hotel. "I really am, Grandma. I am happier than ever before. That is all I have ever wished for you." When I come back from Japan, I find a letter in my mailbox. It is from my father, who somehow managed to get my address. I do not even open it. I just throw it away. I do not want their explanations, apologies, or regrets. I do not need their inheritance, their approval, or their conditional affection. I already have my home, my job, my friends, my grandmother, and my future. I have everything necessary. I am planning to enlarge my house next year, possibly adding a home gym and a larger office. I am thinking of adopting a dog. Also, I consider taking some graduate classes online just for fun. My life is complete, joyful, and calm. I make my own decisions, handle my own challenges, and continue moving forward. I do not have to deal with anyone else's conflicts. Sometimes I reflect on what might have happened if my parents had treated me differently while I was growing up. If they had supported me, motivated me, and felt proud of me. Yet, I came to understand that if they had, I probably would not be as independent and strong as I am today. Their neglect pushed me to construct my own path, to discover my own value, and to bring my own joy to life. Honestly, I would not change a single thing about it. Thank you for listening. If this story resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs to realize that family is defined by who appreciates you and not merely by shared genes. Remember to leave a comment and subscribe for more stories about uncovering your worth in the most unexpected places. Sometimes, the greatest legacy is the power to create a life entirely your own.